WrestleMania weekend is here, and it is a glorious time for wrestling fans, but it's not just the main roster that gets the spotlight. They get the biggest and the brightest one, but NXT, for many years, was able to steal that spotlight away for themselves. This may not be that era, but still a lot of very intriguing talent on NXT Stand and Deliver, so let's get into it. The pre-show is a Fatal 4-Way Tag Team Elimination match. Not going to run through all of the teams, but I think Cora Jade and Roxanne Perez win here. I'm really curious as to why Roxanne kind of fell off here. It felt like they were building some momentum with her. She has a really great Rumble. I thought she looked great in the Elimination Chamber, and then her storyline with Bayley just kind of floats away. And then she's left not doing obvious I'm leaving stuff in NXT and then not doing anything on the main roster. And so I wonder if this is kind of the way to spin her back into main roster stuff. The tag team division right now in NXT is not spectacular. Not even just NXT, sorry, in WWE on the women's side. Hence a thrown together team competing for the tag titles at WrestleMania. And so I do think that you could have Roxy and Cora be a legitimate tag team. Cora probably still needs a little bit of work, but quite obviously has a look that works on the main roster. And Roxanne Perez is a phenomenal worker. And so it has a look as well, sorry. But these are, I think they're a team that works well together. I think this would be a good introduction for them. And I think it would be a nice little spark for the tag team division in WWE. The winners of this gets a WWE tag team title shot. I think this could just be their path up to the main roster. Then we get to the main show. It is for the NXT Women's North American Championship, a ladder match with Zarya, Kalani Jordan, Sol Ruka, Izzy Dame, Lola Vice, and Thea Hale. I really do think this shows the depth of the women's division. This match is going to be incredible on Saturday morning. I do think that the newly returning Thea Hale gets this one. She is a character that everyone kind of falls in love with a little bit. Some of the stuff is too a little over the top for me, than all that stuff. And I get it's supposed to be, but it's in a way that it kind of takes you out of it a little bit sometimes. But she is very young. She is very obviously athletic and a very good performer. So I think it is all there. And also you build up a little bit of momentum for her with this return for getting that one. I like that there isn't really a mistake in the bunch if you want to go with any of them. Kalani Jordan, it did kind of feel like a lot of that momentum stalled after her match or after winning the title initially. Zarya, there's been a lot of frustration about how she has been used. She is just this absolute maniac Mad Max character, and she's suntanning with Sol Ruka. And so I do think a lot of people are kind of pointing to that potentially being a bit of a breakup, that they have a moment in this match and Zarya takes out Sol Ruka or other way around, and you have a bit of the starting of a feud there. And so because of that, I could just see straight up Zarya winning this match. That would be the other pick I would have, but officially I'm going to say Thea Hale gets the win there. The NXT Women's Championship on the line with Stephanie McCurr defending against Julia, Jordan Grace, and Jada Parker. You could make a case for all four of them to be on the main roster already. I do think it is a little too quick to beat Stephanie here, as she just won the title at the last big event that we thought she was getting because Julia was a little bit banged up, but now she's back. So it is a little curious as to why you went the direction that you did. I guess just to get them in this spot, get the North American title off of Stephanie in a ladder match and do it that way. It seems like a lot of moving parts to have all of that go that way. That being said, I do think if you want to give a little bit of momentum to a Julia heel turn, giving her the championship right away and letting her start a heel run might be the way to go about it. So it feels too quick. Honestly, if this is the way that it goes, it might mean Stephanie goes up to the main roster very quickly, but I think Julia gets the title win here, and I think we get another title change in the NXT Women's Division. NXT Tag Team titles on the line as Nathan Frazier and Axiom take on Hank Walker and Tank Ledger, so it's Fraxium against Hank and Tank. I think Fraxium are main roster ready now. They're one of the better tag teams in the world. A little surprised we don't get a Hardy Boys involvement in this in any way, shape, or form. That just a little disappointing, I think, honestly. But I think that either way, like this match is a little underwhelming. For Axiom, they are, like I said, main roster ready though. They would be a huge boost to the tag team division, on Monday Night Raw, and would fit in with the talented teams that they have on the SmackDown side of things right now. So they've been kind of teasing this breakup for a little bit. I don't think that's going to happen. I think that these guys are significantly better as a team than they are apart. And look, like I had them as my worst tag team of the year a couple of years ago because I didn't see it. I thought it was very bland, but they have really come out. They have really developed something with this team, and now I think they are main roster ready. And so because of that, I think we get Hank and Tank getting the victory here at Stand and Deliver. I don't think Hank and Tank are a fully refined product. Like this is definitely a developmental product so far, but I think it kind of starts a new era in the tag team division with Fraxium moving on up. The NXT North American Championship on the line in the only singles match of the morning as Ricky Saints takes on Ethan Page. This one is the easiest to call so far. I think Ricky Saints gets the victory here. He is on fire. I think beating him right away here doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Like this title run has kind of just started. And so now, if you want him up in the main title picture, then okay, I suppose you could do that here, but I just think right now you're still building that momentum, still easing him in a little bit. And while the main event scene in NXT on the men's side does need quite a bit of help, I don't think you do that by sacrificing a loss for Ricky Saints at a big time event here. I don't think that's the right way to go about that. And so because of that, I do see Ricky getting the victory here. I do wish for this one that there was a bit more of a build than just a number one contenders match on Tuesday. I think the promos between these two are really good, and so I think this is kind of just act one in this particular feud. We get the D'Angelo family taking on Dark State. The brawl on Tuesday was sloppy. The camera, like it was just. It was kind of the worst part of pandemic wrestling. It was a pre-recorded thing that wasn't done very well. It's an okay first feud for Dark State. I would imagine they probably get a win here, as it feels like the D'Angelo family is about to implode in some way, shape, or form. You could do like a year, if this was a main roster thing, you could do like a year-long storyline with Stax and Tony feuding. But I do think that Tony is kind of main roster ready at this point. You could do the whole act going up, but certainly Tony is ready to go up to the main roster at this point. And so I wonder if they, for those who didn't follow, I think it was pretty deadly that they kind of just subtly hinted at them murdering and, in the trunk of the car or whatever it was. And then they popped up on the main roster. I wonder if Stax does kind of the same thing, like a sleeping with the fishes sort of a thing with Tony D'Angelo. But instead of the cinder blocks dragging him to the bottom of a river, it just drags him out of NXT and onto the SmackDown roster or something like that. But I do think that there is a win here for Dark State. Also, I do think a lot of people are trying to figure out, like, okay, well, does this mean that this guy's the leader of Dark State? Well, does this mean this guy's the leader of Dark State? I don't think there is going to be that. I think one of these guys is going to emerge as the leader of this group, and I think that's kind of the point of bringing this kind of Nexus group, the Shield group, so to speak, into NXT. NXT Championship on the line. Oba Femi taking on Trick Williams, taking on Javon Evans. I hated the promo segment that closed this thing out on Tuesday. I thought it was very sloppy. I thought it just kind of showed the worst of the promo abilities of Trick and of Javon Evans, and just kind of highlighted that maybe they highlighted some of the main event issues on the men's side in NXT at this current moment. Also, I feel like this was better off as a singles feud. I think this would have been better off with Oba taking on Trick, and the fact that they have danced around that so much makes me think that there is something going on that they're actively avoiding that. Whether they're, I don't want to speculate, but like now I'm going to anyway, like a personal beef or a just like there was something that happened and you see them, it's like, oh god, these guys are like oil and water together. But the fact that they, like, that this was ready made for these guys to have this match together at Stand and Deliver, and instead it's now a three-way. This is one where NXT being developmental always makes it a little bit more challenging to figure out what you're going to do and how to predict these. Because if this was just a regular main roster thing, Oba Femi gets the win here, and probably in dominant fashion. But instead, Oba is main roster ready and has been for a bit now. So I think he loses here. I would imagine that he drops the belt. Trick, has lost a lot of momentum since losing the title. Like it felt like there was a window that they could have sent him up and the crowd would have gone nuts for him. And instead now, yeah, I just don't see that being a real thing for him. But that being said, there's nothing left in NXT for him to do. Like, I think if he wins the NXT title and has another reign again, then it's kind of a like NXT for life thing for him. So I do like I don't think Javon Evans is ready for this. In ring, incredible performer, and he's only 20. But I don't know if he is that guy necessarily. But again, it's developmental. I think Javon Evans probably gets it. Overall, it's going to be a fun show. It is really going to be a fun show. But I do think that it suffers greatly from trying to get too many people on the card at the same time. That was the cool thing about takeovers, is that it was elite company that you were joining if you were going on to a takeover. And by just shoehorning a lot of people in, I think it took away a lot from this card. And it took away a lot from the build. Like you were watching on Tuesday, that fatal four-way for the number one contender spot for the North American title, just assuming there was going to be some kind of screwy thing. And it's okay, well, fatal five-way. You know, that's what it is. Like, I don't mind the ladder match, but I feel like the women's championship match didn't need to be a fatal four-way. And this title match didn't need to be a triple threat match. You know, like, I just feel like they tried to shoehorn too many people on, and it didn't necessarily work.